Hi, I'm Kate, and today I'm watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, episodes 11 and 12. Previously, we saw Katara steal a waterbending scroll from a pirate. Katara is very proud of her heritage and of her waterbending ability, and we also know that it's something she's a little sensitive about because in her tribe there were no elders and no other waterbenders to teach her, so everything so far has been self-taught. Finding this waterbending scroll was a huge awakening for her because she sees there's so much more information out there for her to obtain. Personally, I think she's done a good job by herself so far, and she was more than willing to teach Aang everything she did know. And even though he's young, Aang has been practicing airbending for a long time. He was raised in a monastery by airbending monks. It was a part of daily life. And I assume that especially as the Avatar, once you've mastered one bending ability, I assume it's something that you can like tap into, and once you've tapped into one, you can kind of get the feeling of how to work or bend the other elements, especially if you have a teacher. So I think Katara wasn't giving herself enough credit. She got down on herself that Aang was working faster, and to us they're just children, so I'm watching and I'm like, you have time to learn, and then I'm like, no. Even though you're children, we're all at war, and we don't have that much time to learn our heritage. We have to learn as quickly as possible and put those skills to use. There is so much weight riding on Aang, Katara, and Sokka's shoulders right now, and they are so young. Speaking of young, we also saw Zuko trying to be hot on the trail of the Avatar, and he is. And Uncle Iroh is, of course, teaching us some lessons along the way, and sometimes those take time. Then we met Jet. We met Jet and his freedom fighters that live in a forest up above in the trees. It was a pretty cool hangout. Jet lost his family to the firebenders, just like Katara and Sokka lost their mother, just like Aang lost all of his family as well. This was something they connected over, and unfortunately, Jet was able to use their trust and abuse it. I had this discussion at the end of the previous episode, but for some people, we expect, it's just kind of worth repeating, that I think we always expect people or someone who have come out of a traumatic experience to be a more understanding person or people, and to think like, wow, this happened to us, we need to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else. But unfortunately, a lot of times what happens is reality, and that is that people or a person who has gone through something traumatic want to ensure that never happens to them again. And that could mean that they are harming other people to protect themselves or to seek revenge. Jet had no problem bullying an elderly gentleman that was guilty of being a firebender. But as we saw with the firebending priest Shayu, not everyone that's part of the firebending nation is on board with what's going on. Sometimes to protect your own safety, you have to just keep your head down. And you can't, again, you're not in those people's shoes and you can't really blame them. Now, Sokka, he doesn't have any bending abilities, but he is a great warrior and someone who I think will be a great leader. He's learning along the way, just like Katara and Aang are. But he's learning different fighting styles, he's learning different skills, and we see too that his father has taught him a lot. I love when things kind of line up, and I recently just watched Attack on Titan, where a character used a sword and the vibrations of the sword to carry his voice, and I was able to understand what he was doing because we saw Sokka take a sword or a knife and stick it in a tree to hear the incoming firebending tribes and assist Jet. Ultimately, Jet's plan to get rid of the firebenders in this valley that he is from was to flood it. He wanted to break a dam with the help of Aang and Katara's waterbending abilities. Katara and Aang had been making fun of Sokka for his instincts. And again, because they're young, they don't have a lot of experience with listening to instincts, with listening to their intuition. They just don't have the life experience. And Sokka doesn't have the experience to 100% commit to his gut and convince those around him to as well yet. But we saw he was correct in walking on foot rather than flying Appa. And he was right about Jet. He was the first to sniff out that something wasn't quite right. Jet was willing to sacrifice hundreds of innocent civilians in order to get rid of a few firebending soldiers. And in order to save the day, Sokka went and told firebending soldiers what was going on in order to save the civilians. That's just another great example of how Sokka is learning and growing on this journey, and also showing us what a great leader he'll be. He was willing to put his own life in danger to go into that valley, to approach firebenders and tell them what was going on. They could have taken him captive, they could have killed him, taken him prisoner, and then he would have drowned along with everybody else. But he took that chance to save those lives. And I think this is going to be a question that we definitely see raised again, because like I said, with the synchronicities and loving when things match up, this isn't the only show I'm watching right now where there's a question of what is an acceptable number of civilian casualties in order to win a war. Obviously, you know, that answer is 0. There should be no war. But unfortunately, we are faced with those questions. These are such big questions for such young children to have to grapple with. So I'm excited to jump back in. I'm hoping we get more Zuko and Iroh, and I'm still holding out hope for them. I still think with their relationship, with whatever's going on with the Firebending Nation, his father and Zuko and Iroh, and I need to know more what's going on there, but I just think that that scenario kind of leaves the door open for Zuko and Iroh to maybe change teams. This is episode 11, The Great Divide.
Aren't you forgetting the tarp?
Right, got it.
Sokka, you're supposed to put the tarp on top of the tent. You know, so we don't get rained on.
But seeing how it's the dry season...
I have a feeling it's not about to be the dry season much longer.
Ugh, you're infuriating!
Tara, why don't you worry about gathering the firewood? Because that kindling's looking pretty sorry.
Classic brothers and sisters.
Hey, where's the campfire? And what happened to the tent?
Why don't you ask Miss Know-It-All?
Well, you're Mr. Lazy Bum.
Listen, guys. Harsh words won't solve problem. Action will. Why don't you just switch jobs?
There you go. Good problem-solving skills.
All in a day's work for the Avatar.
Aww. Again, great problem-solving skills, Aang.
Oh, that's fair. Appa's got 5 stomachs. Guys.
I love his little noises.
Wow.
Hey, if you're looking for the canyon guide, I was here first. He's an earthbender, and the only way in and out of the canyon is with his help. You wouldn't be calm if the Fire Nation destroyed your home and forced you to flee.
You're a refugee.
Huh, tell me something I don't know. That's the Zhang tribe, a bunch of low-life thieves. Been the enemies of my tribe for 100 years.
I'm sensing this is the Great Divide.
Where are the rest of the Ganjin?
You know what? I think we're all victims of the Fire Nation here, so maybe we can all travel together.
Sorry about the wait, youngsters.
Why does this look like Aang when he pretended to be an old man?
I can't guide people who aren't here.
Guess you guys will have to make the trip tomorrow.
Wait, here they come!
You're not seriously gonna cave into these spoiled Ganjins? I mean, we're refugees too.
You've got old people who...
Ready to put your peacemaking skills to the test?
Yeah, Aang.
These people have been feuding for 100 years.
But you are the Avatar.
This is the Avatar. And if you give him a chance, I'm sure he can come up with a compromise that will make everyone happy.
You could share the Earthbender and travel together?
Absolutely not. We'd rather be taken by the Fire Nation.
All right, so then go back.
I am not pompous.
All right, here's the deal. You're all going down together, and Appa here will fly your sick and elderly across. Does that seem fair?
It is pretty clutch to be able to pull the Avatar card. Like, he's the Avatar.
Sorry, Appa. You'll have to do this on your own.
And this feuding tribe stuff is serious business. Are you sure it's a good idea getting involved in this?
To tell the truth, I'm not sure. But when have I ever been?
He's the Avatar, Sokka. Making peace between people is his job.
No food allowed in the canyon. It attracts dangerous predators. In 10 minutes, all food better be in your gut or in the garbage.
Appa's gonna take good care of you till we get there. Nice bending.
Very useful.
Okay, everyone stand clear of the wall.
Why'd you do that?
Gotta make sure we can't be followed. We'll be safe now.
We gotta help him!
Did someone bring food they weren't supposed to? Water whip. Nice.
What was that?
Canyon crawler. Oh, and there's sure to be more.
Your arms, they're broken.
Oh
Without
no.
my arms, I got no bending.
We're trapped in this canyon.
Oh, I was about to say this would be a great time for you to learn some bending skills.
It's the Zhangs. They took food down here even after the guide told them not to.
If there's anyone who can't go without food for a day, it's you pampered Ganjin.
We need to get out of this canyon. I won't die down here. I won't be.
You guys get along, but I guess that's not gonna happen. Ganjin's on this side and Zhang's on that side. We'll travel in two separate lines. Saga, you go with the Zhangs, and Katara, you go with the Ganjins. See if you can find out why they hate each other so much.
Gonna try and get to the root cause of this problem. Although, having this trip together and Aang being able to talk through their problems, hopefully, before they make it to the other side, could end up being a really
you
great
guys
thing in
aren't
the
gonna put up
long
your
run
tarps?
if they
What
can
for?
It's the dry
come
season.
together against the Fire
Exactly.
Nation.
Finally, someone gets it.
You really think it'll rain?
No, but you can never be too careful, right?
They ended up walking in the right lines.
So it was you guys who had food.
Oh, come now. You really think that tribe of thieves isn't smuggling food? Why should my people go hungry when the sneaky Zhangs are stuffing their faces?
That's not a good leader.
I guess it's okay if everyone's doing it.
Think you're about to attract stuff?
So, why does your tribe hate the Zhang so much?
I bet you would enjoy hearing some history. Patriarch of our tribe, Jin Wei, who was assigned an important duty, transporting our sacred orb from the Great Eastern Gate to the Great Western Gate. But as he approached the gate, Jin Wei was attacked by one of the Zhang. That coward Wei Jin knocked Jin Wei to the ground and stole our sacred orb. You can never trust a Zhang.
I feel like the Zhangs are about to have a different version of the story.
By bringing food down here.
I don't think he's thinking that
The
right.
Ganjin think so badly of us, they probably assumed we brought food in and decided to bring food in themselves.
Yeah, that is what happened.
Our conflict with the Ganjin goes back over 100 years. Our forefather, Wei Jin, was leaving the western gate of our village.
I like that the animation
when he saw a
is
figure
different.
In the distance. It was a man of the Ganjin tribe, Jin Wei. Wei Jin tried to tend to the man's wounds, but Jin Wei insisted the orb was more important. But as Wei Jin crossed the border to return the orb into Ganjin territory, he was arrested. Instead of thanking him for his kind and selfless deed, they sentenced him to 20 long years in prison. We Zhangs will never forget that injustice.
It's okay, Momo. We'll be out of here soon enough. And then we
Where'd
can
the
eat our
guide
weight
go?
in lychee nuts. Nah, I'll wait for the lychee nuts.
It's lonely, isn't it? Being impartial.
I wish I could help these people get along.
It's hard being in
It just
charge.
seems impossible. Anyhow, I guess our biggest problem is getting out of here.
I'm not so sure the two problems are unrelated. All clear. We're almost to the other side.
They're gonna have to start walking together again, though.
Katara, Sokka, will these people cooperate long enough to get out of the canyon?
The Zhangs really wronged the Ganjins. They ambushed Jin Wei and stole the sacred orb.
Wei Jin didn't steal the orb. He was returning it to their village gate and was wrongfully punished by the Ganjin.
Let's get everyone together at the base of the canyon wall.
He seems a lot more confident now.
Please, everyone, as soon as we get out of here, we can eat, and then go our separate ways.
Maybe the Zhang can climb the wall with their long, disgusting fingernails.
That's not helpful.
I forgot that to the Ganjin, unclipped fingernails is a crime punishable by 20 years in jail.
How many times do I have to say it? Harsh words won't solve problems. Action will.
Perhaps the Avatar is right.
Yes, perhaps he is.
Oh, it's not gonna be that simple. So you'll kill each other before the Fire Nation does. Aang. We're more alike than we know. Look at all the food that went flying out, too.
Is that food? Unbelievable! You guys put our lives in danger because you couldn't go without a snack for a day? You are all awful! So hungry.
Uh-oh. We're gonna have to fight together to get out of this.
That's a lot of canyon crawlers.
We barely survived one.
They're coming back for me. They've had a taste, and they're coming back for me.
Aang's pretty angry right now. He probably could take on a lot of them. And this is the Avatar. The one that could save all of them, and they're just sitting there fighting each other instead of helping him. Everybody's gonna have to work together.
Everybody, watch me do what I do!
Ah, like catching a sandworm. Not exactly.
Now follow me! We're riding out of this hole! Everyone, get off!
Now let's shoot him back down there.
I never thought a Ganjin could get his hands dirty like that.
And I never knew you Zhangs were so reliable in a pinch. Too bad we can't rewrite history. You thieves stole our sacred orb.
Wait a second, Jin Wei? Wei Jin? I know those guys, but I'm 112 years old. I was there 100 years ago on the day you're talking about. They were brothers. Twins, in fact. And they were 8. The sacred orb from the legend? That was the ball. Wei Jin didn't steal the ball. He picked it up and started running it back toward the other goal, but he stepped out of bounds. So the official put him in the penalty box. There was no stealing and no putting anyone in prison.
You're saying the sacred orb was actually a sacred ball?
Nope, just a regular ball.
What about our tribe's redemption ritual?
That's what the game was called, redemption.
We're rewriting history
I
here, but that's
suppose
fine.
it's time we forget the past.
And look to the future.
Good to see you, boy. Did you miss me?
I cannot thank you enough, Avatar.
Let us travel to the Earth Kingdom capital as one tribe.
There we go.
Dude, I'm sick of this place.
That's some luck you knew Jin Wei and Wei Jin.
You could call it luck, or you could call it lying.
What?
Put all the food with the sick people on Appa to carry across, but I'm thinking too deeply into that. Okay, great episode. Aang is learning a lot of leadership now, too. It was so I have brothers, so I get the sibling when you spend too much time together, and they've been traveling for quite a while now. Those differences were going to happen. I love that they got split and put with the correct tribe at night, and I also love that Aang was not above telling a few white lies just to create peace between tribes. But it also shows us they were going at each other's throats over this old, long-told story that has it has 2 different sides to it for each tribe. And they were willing to let this thing that never affected them personally, like it didn't affect that, it didn't happen to them in their lifetime. It's just part of the history of the tribe, which is important to them, of course. You should know your history. But it has perpetuated this rivalry for what purpose? Think about how much faster they could have already been across the canyon. Think about how much further along they would be in their journey if they were friendly neighbors versus are on a time crunch here. Why are we turning against each other? Again, one of those things that is easier said than done because we're watching this on an animated TV show versus